Hi, I'm Katie Duke, and I've been a nurse for over 20 years. Listen, I used to think that I was my most stylish in my 20s, but honestly, style and confidence only get better with age. And that is why I love Figs. These scrubs are beautiful, comfortable, and they are built to last. They're not those boxy, scratchy uniforms that we all started out in. No. These fit perfectly. They feel amazing, and the quality is just wow! My favorite color? Burgundy. It's chic, it's timeless, and it's even the same color as my apartment, because I'm kind of obsessed with it. And I love adding custom embroidery to make my scrubs as personal as my style. And since I work in telehealth, my embroidered figs even double as my ID badge. It's never too late to reinvent yourself or your scrubs. Get 15% off your first order at wearfigs.com with the code FIGSRX. That's wearfigs.com, code FIGSRX for 15% off your first order.
All right. If you are not satisfied with the level of healthcare that you are receiving in our medical system, or if you have some prevalent like health issues or just want to be more active in preventing future health issues, and just living a more optimized, healthy life, you need to check out my man, Christian Yordanov, who is a functional health practitioner and educator and a dude that just kills it with in-depth health analysis and supplementation. When I say supplementation based on testing for you specifically. So, he develops protocols specifically for you. I've been working with him for 6 months, and I can tell you, before I was working with him, I was stressed out all the time. I was drinking a pre-workout before the gym. That was like a high stimulant, meaning a lot of caffeine and other stimulants, pre-workout, and having like 3 or 4 Red Bulls or whatever energy drinks a day. And working with him, I've gotten off all those. I've changed my diet. I've dropped like 50 pounds and just feel better than I have in a long time. And, I still don't act or look my age or feel it. You know what I mean? So if you are interested in taking your health seriously and getting way more in depth than you ever will with a primary care physician, you need to go check out livelongerformula.com and hit up Christian. He has a free course and some information out there, and you can book a free consultation with him. And I'll tell you that in the first week that I worked with him, I talked to him more in the first couple of days than I did in like the last 25 years of dealing with the primary care providers and whatnot out here. So he's going to go hard. He's going to go, very in depth with you on your health issues and what you want, you know what I mean? And where you want to be. And he's going to help you get there. You're going to have to do the work, but he's going to guide you. So go to livelongerformula.com, /Big Truth, or or just mention me when you talk to him, and he's going to hook you up with some even more stuff, so you're going to be in the secret club, you know what I mean? All right, so check it out. It's one of the best things you can do, one of the best investments you can make in yourself. One of the best investments you can make in general is investing in yourself, so you have a healthy life, and then you can conquer everything else around it. All right, if you need artwork of any type, for your house, for your work, for your business, for your garage, or especially if you have like a tattoo shop, you need to check out tattooflashcollective.com. I'm just giving you the website and just say, obvious Tattoo Flash Collective, but go to tattooflashcollective.com, and they got artwork from artists all over the world. And, whether you need a postcard size piece of art or a full blown poster, anything in between, if you need Tattoo Flash, then they definitely are the first place you should go. Check them out, tattooflashcollective.com. Promo code Big Truth at checkout. You get 10% off your order. If you are a member of my Patreon, which is www.patreon.com/bigtruth, you get even more off your order, but you got to be a member to do that. And if you want to join the back channel, which is my Patreon, go to patreon.com/bigtruth, and that's a way for you to get more. We go more in depth. We just go deeper in there. more analysis. You get early access to episodes, and you just get more analysis and more back end stuff. It is a way for you to be more involved with the show. There's ways for you to participate and everything. So check it out. If you are into motorcycles at all, check out my motorcycle shop, Chop Ed Custom Cycles, located at 13 County Road, East Freetown, Massachusetts. It's a full brick and mortar motorcycle shop. So, you come in, we have a showroom, parts counter, all that. In the back is where we do all the work on the bikes. If you're not local, go to chopahead.com, spelled CHOPPAHEAD, and you can pick up a hoodie or a sweatshirt or parts for your motorcycle. So check it out at chopahead.com. For more information on the podcast, just go to bigtruthpodcast.com. And without further ado, we're just going to jump into it right now. Here we go.
Sequence start. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We have a liftoff.
I was trying to go to full 4K, but it fucking wants me to upgrade and all this bullshit. These fucking platforms, dude, they're essential, but then every time you want to you click on one thing, it's like, oh, you can do that, but you got to upgrade and blah, blah, blah. You know how it goes.
How they get you.
Everything's a subscription now. Nothing is, you just buy it and own it anymore. It's like, and then once they have the subscription, they're like, essential features are a thing that you got to add on or upgrade to the ultra premium, blah, blah, blah.
The pay window stuff. It's like, hey, you can get so much more. Like you can get X-ray vision if you subscribe.
Yeah. Or it's like, I know you're here as a free subscriber, but here's a teaser of everything you'd get if you pay to subscribe. And then when you pay to subscribe, it's like, all right, now that you're a paid subscriber, you have this, this, and this, but look at all this awesome stuff you have if you upgrade to premium, ultra pro, blah, blah, blah. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I'm falling victim to some of that because I find that I'm needing that with the podcast and video stuff, man. I'm like, God damn, dude, it used to be you could just buy Adobe Premiere or whatever and just be able to work on stuff. And now it's like, you can't buy it anymore. You have to subscribe, and then you get stuck in that loophole of like having to constantly upgrade to keep up with everything. But it is what it is.
That's how they get you.
And
get you.
And without further ado, I want to thank you all for tuning into this episode of the Big Truth Podcast. Even though we just kind of started, sorry, man, I was rambling. I'm here with my brother Ray Chaos, who you probably know. If you're into metal or hardcore or punk rock, then you know Full Blown Chaos or Brick by Brick, upstate legendary status here. Ray, what's happening, my brother? What's going on?
Living, breathing every day. Love it.
That's what we do.
Just hanging out. Waiting for the warmth to set in. Supposed to get supposed to be 60 something degrees tomorrow after it was snowing last week. So
yeah,
I'm ready.
I know you guys are no stranger to this, but we got dumped on. We got 38 inches. So even though right now it's 50 degrees out, there is still snowdrift piles taller than me all over the place because it can't melt. Now everything's muddy and everything's just a mess, dude. That's just the Northeast bullshit that we deal with, right?
Oh yeah, for real, yeah.
And so we're just gonna start off with this.
This snow was different.
Yeah, this
snow was different. This snow was different this year.
I know.
I don't know. That's just my thought on it.
I don't know, I know you guys are on a different, get a little different weather stream than us, but we've had it pretty mild the last couple of years. So I feel like we've got all the last 4 years of snowfall all fell in the last 2 weeks here. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Did you guys get hammered
just
too?
hit you all at once.
Yeah. Did you guys get hammered too?
We got about a foot on this last one.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So,
yeah.
but before that, we got hit. I was helping my neighbors shovel snow off their roofs.
Yeah.
Just so it didn't collapse or anything.
The roof,
the old, it's crazy. Just trying to get out. I had to abandon my Jeep and then go find it a couple of days later once the plows had their way and everything. It was too much. It definitely gave me the incentive to I might have to start snowbirding.
Yeah.
For real.
I know. I feel like the older we get, that actually, we used to make fun of that, but now it's like, that's because right now everybody that's in like Arizona and California or wherever around the world where it's nice and warm is just laughing at us, being like, "You idiots! Why you dealing with that?" But
That's
it is what it is. All right, so we're gonna start this off with a poll. What do people prefer? Because we're both on the same keeping our beards but letting them go gray by the day, grayer by the day. Plan. Do you prefer the no mustache or sorry, or raise with a mustache? You look more like a old school, like I get made fun of like either like Amish or Abe Lincoln, and you have like, you know, like a dwarven warrior look there, like, you know what I mean? Just like,
I get the dwarven or the sea captain. I get a lot, you know. It's like I had a kid like stop dead in her tracks with her family walking past the bar the other day and like just looking at me, and then I just hear the whispers, "Is that Santa?" And I'm like, I got that's when the gray, that's when you hit Santa level gray in that beard. Yeah, I'm almost there. It's like, you know, I had the racing stripes, the Kurt Crowbar racing stripes for a while, and now it's just I just want it all gray to where I can't eat certain food anymore.
Yeah, I got the stripes, but the gray's getting thicker.
Yeah.
Like it shows here, but then whatever. This side's a little more black. Genetics is a weird thing, man. You know what I mean? But I saw a picture of me from 3 years ago. This thing was solid black. I'm like, that's how fast it creeps in. It just was like bang.
That was before that was pre-marriage. So that was before my brief marriage and divorce. So it definitely it took its toll.
It exasperated. It escalated things. That moved it along. That's like when you see the president and the president comes in. He looks all young and stuff, and then 4 years later, he's like gray and looks old. That's if you believe it's actually
all the
them.
Secrets.
Yeah. It's all the secret. That's. But I was gonna say, even if you believe that's actually the president and not someone in a mask, you see all that shit.
Oh my God, I love it. My whole algorithm is stuck on conspiracies and parasites and I'm here for it.
Oh yeah,
I absolutely love it. It used to be cigars and tits. Now it's all just it's all just the conspiracies, and it's what's real, what's not. AI is just, I mean, I'm not worried about AI yet, just because of like if I hit on Spotify, I hit Siri to play Elton John and it plays Pantera, I'm not worried about AI taking over yet. I'll listen. I love Elton John. I'll listen to some Elton John.
Yeah.
I don't think we're at that point. Maybe we're on the precipice of it, coalescing into something that's really worrisome.
Yeah.
But I'm here for it. I want to see it all. I want to see it all go down.
Yeah, man. So it's a weird thing, right? Because if in life, like I'm into the weirdest shit. Like I love it all. I love all the conspiracy, all the paranormal, all the high strangeness, all the weirdness stuff. I love it all. And 80% of it I look at as entertainment, right? But it's entertainment with like, even if a fraction of this is true, the world's like more awesome than we know, or more interesting at least than we know. But when I post stuff like with the new Redacted channel, I try and only concentrate on things that are like tried, hard, true, backed up with, receipts with like, that I have like, here are the actual, released files on this, you know what I mean? Like this is, I try and only put that stuff out right now because I'm trying to build credibility before I just go completely wacko and everyone's like, now this guy's just off the rails. He's talking about, but on the podcast, we'll talk about whatever. Like, I don't know if you heard the one I had a couple episodes ago with this author, MD Seelig. He was an Air Force fighter. He was naval. Sorry, no, he's a Marine fighter pilot, and squad captain, intelligence officer, all this stuff. So he has a credible background, but he was talking some wild stuff, man, like wild stuff. And I'm like, man, that's one of the ones where I'm like, even if 2% of what you're saying is true or comes to fruition, it's a wild world out there. And it's if 2% of what he predicted for this year comes to light, It's gonna be and we know it's only March and it's already the wildest year on record. Like, you know what I mean? Like every day, it's just more and more bananas out there.
It's very insane. Like I want full, like, all the disclosure stuff. Like, just let it all out.
Yeah.
People can handle it. You know, it's like now it's just a tease and
Yeah.
everything's a cover up and whatever. It's like, it's like, come on, like, just, we know it's there.
Yeah.
Just admit it. Just admit it. It's I want the all seeing, like, the Dicenium glasses and I want to be able to see past the veil, and why not?
That was
at this point.
Yeah, that's those glasses, right? That were like comes from like World War II technology. There was like, or something like early. Are you talking about the glasses where you can see another dimension type of thing?
Yeah.
That came from the background of that is like, I can't remember what year, like maybe it was Vietnam, dude. It was something. I think it was Vietnam era. They were experimenting with night vision, and like soldiers were like freaking out because they were seeing like demons and like otherworldly creatures. They were looking into another dimension. And then I think that's where the glasses came from, because it was like something with whatever the makeup of that lens is that they were using in the night vision was like, you were seeing through the veil a little bit, and it was a wild one. Like I said, that's the stuff I want to do content on, but I can't right now because like I have to like research to get the hard receipts and the classified documents on that stuff, but I don't know if there is any. So I don't.
There's a no. I get it. I absolutely get it. There's a lot of that I try to, everybody's got to do their own research, right? Like to what they dial into, to what they believe in, what they don't believe in. There's a lot of stuff that's AI, and I've been kind of being able, like, you could pick stuff out when it's AI because the cadence and speaking sometimes is like a little off. For some reason, something that is mundane will be spelt wrong.
Yeah.
For some reason. And it's like, oh, this is all just, it's clickbait. It's all clickbait.
Yeah.
It's a good story. I mean, you could pump in and have AI do any type of story you want, and then people think it's real, but everything is flooded. The internet's flooded with that.
It's wild. And the scary thing is, like, the AI we have access to is getting exponentially better, like on a weekly basis, right? Because I've been starting to follow it, and there's updates and upgrades and things that come out and programs that come out. Like, it isn't going to be long before you can make your own. You can already make your own avatar and have it say whatever you want, right? Like, so like I can make an AI version of you in your voice with your mannerisms, and it'll be pretty close, but it's still a little bit off where you can kind of tell, but they're working on that. And I guarantee you within the year, it's going to be like almost flawless. But that said, that's what we have access to. What powers that be have access to is always 10 years beyond what we have. You know what I mean? 10, 20 years. So I don't know. I can't even imagine. I can't even imagine what they're messing with. You know what I mean? Or what they have access to.
It's gonna add a level of like, privacy, like settings to everything, just because of how you're going to prove that's you. How you going to prove it's you if it's online? Like, we need any type of authenticity and this and that. It's like everything's going to have to be, watermarked somehow, and just, it's we're already in deep shit with all the Real ID and everything else.
Oh, dude, that's the series I'm on right now for Redacted. I started with the school photos. I'm gonna get into the cars, and then I'm going to get into the just to set the stage, and then I'm getting into the heavy hitters with the digital ID and digital currency. Because that
scares me.
If anybody has if you have any shred of loving even the smallest semblance of privacy and freedom, you have to 110% be concerned right now about digital ID and digital currency, because they're going to sell it to you on the precipice of convenience. Like, look how convenient it is. You don't have to have this. You can just show this and blah, 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 and it's all connected. But if it gets tied into a social credit score, which let's face reality, it probably will. Maybe not in our life, but your kid's life or your grandkid's life. And then they can start using that to limit where you travel, where you spend money, how much you can spend money on, or just, oh, you said something we don't like, so we're just shutting your ass off. You can't spend, we just froze you out of your account. And if you don't think it'll happen, they did that in Canada with the truckers when the truckers protested. And just look at where China is at. It's the,
Yeah, all the convoy. I remember watching that and just,
and they just froze all their bank accounts.
It's crazy.
And that's that's Canada, man. Like, which is like, like known for, being, sort of like us, you know what I mean? That they have a little less codified freedoms, with, we get the First and Second Amendment, what's left of them, but, and stuff like that. But, they're free, Western society, you know what I mean? And they did it there. So like that does, like you don't have to use obscure references from crazy commie countries like China, like you can, which, is the path we're on, but under the guise of still having some kind of democracy and freedom. But whatever. You get into all that thing. But yeah, it's wild times. But people, like, do your research. If you only research one or two things, just start looking into those things and support local businesses, spend cash, not credit, not debit, take money out of the bank if you gotta, you know what I mean? And use cash, because cash cannot be tracked the way debit, credit, digital currency can be. You know what I mean? And
cash is king. Cash is king.
And that's the way. That's all you got to do is like pull your money out of the sketchy banks. Like if you're in any of the big sketchy banks, pull your money out of there. Go to a local credit union or something that like actually supports your community and isn't supporting centralized banking systems and craziness like that. Like just do your research on that. It's your duty as a citizen to be informed, and that's why the country's in the mess it is, because we have a distracted, dumbed down population. And I'm not saying it's their fault, because they're fed propaganda all day from, whatever their news source is, whether it's New York Times, MSNBC, CNN, or Fox or whatever. Like I always have to put both out there, because if you criticize one, you automatically get labeled the other thing. And I'm like, dude, I'm neither. I am outside of the two-party system, bro. Like I am outside of it. I don't care. Both of those wings are on the same bird, left and right. They're on the same fucking bird, dude. You know what I mean?
I like how they, it could be the same subject, but the narrative that they push is completely opposite. Like, just on either end, which is wild. It's like I get a kick out of that. Like when something happens, I'll research the other just to see what their
saying pick
is of it, and it's comical. It really. Just it's unfortunate because we've become a country of convenience. Yeah. And once that convenience, and people are gonna, they're gonna give everything for that convenience because they don't want to struggle. Yeah. And it's, and we're dumbing down because of it. Things are being taken from us that we don't even know. Like anything that was, like not to get too crunchy and weird, but like copper pipes, everything's PEX. More plastic, that's hurting us. There's no more, and then, linens.
Yeah. And what they don't tell you, and you want to get into the copper pipe stuff, is that copper is an antimicrobial, you know what I mean? It cleans the water. Like, you know what I mean? It's got a, it's like and then they wonder why they're looking at, when they were doing tests on men and like how much microplastics are found in people's balls, you know what I mean? Like dudes' balls, you know what I mean? And it's like, well, because everything's plastic now. You and you're microwaving food in a plastic container. Like, bro, come on, man, fucking go get.
And not only that,
go get a cast iron pan and heat shit up in that, dude. You know, it's fucking.
Oh yeah. Plus, how it rearranges on a molecular level.
Yeah.
The food to where like. It's harder to digest and process. And it's like, I mean, I'm still going to eat it that way. It's like my leftovers are going right in the microwave because of the convenience.
Yeah.
It's like I don't always have the time to
So yeah,
Yeah.
and that's the thing, man. When I say stuff like this, no one's 100% perfect, but just stop getting more cognizant of these things, because things are escalating quickly, and the more they keep you distracted and fighting amongst each other, like, oh, you're a right wing Republican, or oh, you're a left wing libtard, blah blah blah. It's like they're laughing up here while we're fighting down here. It's get your head in the game. It's definitely, because it's escalating fast. You know what I mean? And more freedoms and things that you take for granted are eroding. And like you said, everything's being sold on the guise of convenience. And convenience is going to enslave you in the end, man. Think about. No one likes to think of it this way. Think about how much of the year you're already a slave to the government, and people, how do you want to pay the amount of taxes you're paying? When you look at how many taxes you're paying, like how much you're paying in taxes, whether it's, your federal income tax, your state income tax, and then everything else that's a tax. That's like, you're literally a slave to the government. If you're not outside of the grid or outside of the system, you're literally a slave to the government a third to half of the year. Like, you're literally working as a slave, free labor.
Oh, definitely.
And then
definitely. And
the crazy thing
a lot of that is the Ford work week.
Yeah.
The whole 40-hour work. Yeah, that's a scam too. And it's if you don't work for yourself, you don't set your own schedule to where, it starts there. Because if you can't control how much you put yourself in, and then make what you need to survive, pretty much we're all in survival mode from almost day one. It's that's not, keeping that stress, on the body, constantly wondering if we're going to make the next month's worth of bills. And, like, I need this, need that. How much taxes are they taking? Everything is taxed on top of that.
Yeah.
I don't understand why gas just went up.
Well, there's a little doodad stuff happening in the Middle East that, but yeah, gas was by here, it was $2.79 one day and it was $3.29 the next. I was like, damn, dude. Like, I was like, that's a little bit of a jump up. Like, you used to nickel and dime us, at least go up a dime a week. Like, you went up right up. You just shot right up.
Yep. They're saying that's sitting in the tank already.
Yeah.
For just sitting at the gas station. Not like they had to buy and pay for that new. Well, because everyone's getting theirs. That's what, so it's a wild thing. One thing I wanted to talk about, you mentioned disclosure earlier, and the funny thing with that is like how that's escalated. That one week Obama's like, yeah, there's aliens, they're just not at Area 51, and then Trump saw that got a lot of attention, so he's like, oh well, maybe I'm gonna tell Congress we got to release all our, disclose all our, release all our, alien files, or get disclosure rolling. And 10 years ago, how exciting that would be, right? Like, everyone would be like, hell yeah, dude. And now it's just like, what the hell are they trying to distract us from now? You know what I mean? Because I'm like, that's anytime there's something. Yeah. It's like I start looking. I'm like, all right, what are we not supposed to be looking at?
Yeah. And that's like with the Epstein files. It's like, okay, they released the Epstein files, but if you look at what those files are, there's some emails that actually content emails from Epstein to other people, or emails to him. That's what you need to be looking at. Not all the stuff that people reported. Like, that's like there was a lot of like people just like ratting, you know what I mean? So they're like, oh, well, when I was here, I saw this, or I think this guy's blah, blah, blah. And that's technically in the files, but they haven't released the real files yet. Like, the real, like, the stuff they pulled out, you know what I mean, of his safe and of the houses, you know what I mean? Like, they're only just releasing the electronic, emails and stuff. And there's a ton in there. I'm not saying that, but I'm saying you have to be careful when you go through that, because a lot of it is just like conjecture and people like, tips or whatever, or people like, whatever. So, but there's so much there that is like him emailing people where they're just saying the worst shit. Like, you're like, God damn, dude. But I'm like, if they're releasing this now, I'm like, what are they? Because there's always something else going on. I'm like, if they're releasing this to us, like, what are we not seeing yet? And I know there's a couple of years that have not been released at all, like 99 to 02 or something like that. There's like a big gap in it. So what was going on then? But there's a lot of stuff like there's still, if they're right now, they're in contempt of law. Like there's, this stuff is all, it's supposed to 100% be out. That's the thing. That's the other crazy thing right now is that accountability is zero because we're not holding anybody accountable. We just think that's what they do. And it's like, no, we're supposed to be. We're supposed to be
free. Everybody's still walking.
Yeah. Well, the problem is like, yeah, if football is on and there's a cheeseburger that can still be eaten in your hand, like life is all right. So no one cares. It's like, now's when we need to be like turning this shit around, not when we hit rock bottom. But unfortunately, it's going to take, some depression era stuff to really shake people out of their routines of comfort and convenience. Like we're soft, man. You know what I mean? Like, like if you look at what life was like even like 50, 60, 70 years ago and you see what life is now, it's soft and which is good, but it goes back to that whole adage, hard times create hard people create good times create soft people create hard times. Like we're in that stage, you know what I mean? So we're
definitely in hard times.
I try and
it's getting harder.
Yeah, it's gonna get a lot worse before it gets any better, unfortunately. But I try and retain a little bit of optimism, like you know what I mean? Because it's funny because all the bullshit, like when you go online and you see all the fighting and stuff, but when you're out in the street and you're like last night we were at a show, everyone's cool, everything's fine. It's just the news and the media just has everyone in a constant cycle of fear and distress because it's a psyop, man. There's no other way to say it. Like that's psychological operations to keep you in that state so that you're not, your nervous system's all like engaged, like you're not thinking, like you're just reacting, and it's wild, dude. It's a fucking wild world.
I agree. No, I absolutely agree. It's like there's a lot of stuff that it's like you said, I can't push it enough for people to, do their own homework and just do their own research, like without going down the rabbit hole to where it stops your way of life, you know, because you still have to thrive. You still have to, bills are not going anywhere, you still got to eat, you still got to take care of your kids. You still got to, you still have to function, as much as, humanly possible, but don't be a schnook either. It's, and like minds, also is, congregating with people with similar values, and even if they're not on the same page of learning things that, I school them, like if they're open to, knowledge, hey, that's a love language right there. It's like, I want to learn as much as possible. And I try to never stop learning just for that reason, not only just to push myself into a more aware person of, my surroundings and what's happening in country, out of, abroad, out of the country, like what are we not seeing, but also, just to be a good human, just so I can live my life better.
Yeah, man.
Because who wants to live in fear? Like the whole fear mongering thing just definitely, I'll tell you what, the one thing that all of this uproar and upheaval with the way the government is right now, it's going to spawn so much great music. And
I hope so,
because it's, like a whole, like we need a full on like punk revival for what, punk rock, what we used to, not what you see now, like, I just, it's, I mean, some are getting it, but others it's not this, it's a lifestyle. It's a way that, you carry yourself. It's the extreme of anything, so, that's what hardcore is. It's supposed to be the extreme of, whatever it is. And it's not there anymore. It's not there. Hopefully it puts people that into a position to where they're not afraid. They're not afraid, and they're not afraid to speak up.
Well, I share, or I would like to share your optimism on that, but everything we
Oh,
just
yeah.
lived through from 2020 to 2025, I was like, all right, man, people are going to be on board and fired up. And they were like, get the jab. I was like, what? What? Like, I'm like, crust punks. I'm like, dude, you are cheerleading for Pfizer right now? What the hell are you doing, dude? Like, and I get it. I get that people are trying to come from a point of compassion, like, hey, let's do this for the greater good. But I'm like, you're not looking deep.
Yeah.
You're not looking deep enough, dude. Like, do you think a pharmaceutical company really has your health, as its like highest intention, right? Because if you're healthy and you're pulled out of the healthcare system, you are no longer a customer. They want repeat customers. Yep. And if you think Pfizer and Moderna and all these people were doing this stuff out of any sort of benevolence, one, go just look at the profit margins on everything.
Oh, yeah.
But two, look at their history of lawsuits and past history of just releasing stuff they know is dangerous because this is their model. All right, we're developing this new drug and we're going to test it. And we're going to have third-party testing, but they can choose who the third-party tester is. So we won't even talk about how corrupt that is, right? But then we'll talk about they get it and they're like, oh, well, it's, there's already sketchy data. But here's the thing. They put $5 billion into developing the drug, and they spend $2 billion on researching it and getting it pushed through and whatever. And then they spend $3 billion on marketing it. So we're at $10 billion, right? Every drug they develop, they put money aside for the lawsuits. So they put $10 billion into developing a drug. They make $20 billion in sales. All right. So they got $10 billion in profit. They got money to pay off people and still make money.
Oh yeah,
it's insanity, and that is the model. Like, you don't have to take my word for it. Take that little tidbit and start Googling or use fucking ChatGPT or whatever it is you got to do. But look at that, because that is their model, tried and true and tested. Like, they build that into everything they do, and they know they've literally. I think it was Pfizer has got some of the biggest lawsuits in history that were judged against them. Like, so it wasn't like just brought up and dismissed or whatever. Like, no, they got ruled against. Like, you guys did this sketchy ass shit. They're not your friend, No, and I'm not saying don't trust.
And
I'm not anti-vaccine. I'm not anti-medication. I'm like, when there's stuff that you need whatever. Like, you know what I mean? But you got to watch what you're putting into yourself. Yeah. Oh, sorry. Yeah.
They don't have the track record of they don't have the track record of being the efficacy of their products. It's like, what have they cured? And not only that, it's what do they own 90% of the rennet, in the country. Yeah. So it's like they control 90% of what cheese is made. So no matter what, they could put whatever they want into stuff, and it's and that's a fact. That's I looked that one up. I definitely. Yeah. I mean, but it's another rabbit hole. That's
That's the
so
problem.
Many rabbit holes.
we talked about 400 things that lead to 2,000 rabbit holes. That's the other problem with everything. And then when you start trying to connect it all, you're like, this is so massive, and we are being assaulted on so many fronts every second of the day.
Oh yeah.
And so but it goes back to what you said. You got to break yourself out of that. You need to know it because you need to know what's going on, but you can't let it consume you and take over your life. You have to get out there, because when you go outside, I mean, right now it sucks, but like spring comes, flowers smell good, like pet your dog, like go see your homies, like go to a show. Everything's good, you know what I mean? But understand that can all go if you don't stand up for it, you know what I mean? Like, because I feel like
100%.
We're at a crossroads, man. We're all at a crossroads where like people are gonna have to start getting. You don't have a choice. You don't have the luxury of being distracted and dumbed down anymore. Because if you are, then pretty much, just kiss it all goodbye.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. It's there's the I'm concerned about going abroad. Like once like Brick by Brick's going to be going over to Europe again in at the end of July, and we're going to be out there for a couple of weeks. And I'm concerned about going to the UK because you have to look at your social media and you got to look at it. I'm like, my search history is so wild.
Yeah.
It's like, well, I guess I live here now. They're going to,
No,
I don't wanna
you
eat
won't.
beans on toast.
They're literally, and you don't believe me on it, look it up. They're putting people in jail for speaking out against things. So they're going to look up this podcast and be like, they're going to be like, nah, dude, you're going to jail. they're going to look at your search history. They're like, midget spaghetti wrestling, and then also, I don't know. There's so much going on. I was trying to think of some deep conspiracy stuff, but it's like I'm like all fired on every cylinder right now. But like Council of Foreign Relations, and then midget spaghetti wrestling. And that's what makes the world a beautiful place.
It would be cool. I really, I'll tell you what. Not to get off task, but like the whole, like Epstein files and all of that, like it's I hope Epstein's Island, I really hope they didn't, if they, with all the atrocities that they were doing, do some like Dr. Moreau type shit. At least, that would be, at least give it a drop of entertainment value, because I mean, all we're seeing from that is just how awful the human condition is. And just like with all the, the stuff human trafficking, the stuff they did to children and everything else, and just like all their rituals and this and that. Like, have you tried, are there any, I'm sure there's islands out there that are straight up Dr. Moreau, like they were just doing all kinds of crossbreeding and this and that, I wonder if there was any of that.
Well, that's Zorro Ranch, bro. That's what was going on at his New Mexico property. Like, they haven't even talked about that yet. They're only talking about the island property. Like, he had more, dude. Like, you know what I mean? And that's where all the genetic stuff was. I can't understand how one guy was involved in so much wild shit. Like, who's got the time? Like, you know what I mean? Like, like, everything, dude. Like every world event. He was involved in crypto stuff. He was involved in all this genetic stuff. He's involved in like all these psyops, all this crazy stuff, man. I'm like, how's one guy? Obviously, we'll never get to the bottom of it all, but like it's just insanity. Like how one guy just rose into all this stuff, and I mean, there's a lot of people that do like deep breakdowns on that and. Yeah.
Oh yeah. And that's the one thing. It's like you get a group of people that want to be as nefarious as possible, and and that's what birthed that. It's like, but then you can get a group of people that want to do just as good, and they all get fucking murked. It's like they find a way, like because the bad guys want to make money off of that.
Yep.
And once they can't, you lose your value.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. No. And I mean, if you look into his start he was a really good money launderer, and he helped, like, he didn't go, so he was smart, right? Like his tactics were, he didn't go after like governors and senators and congressmen directly. He went at like the donor class. That's who he was rolling with. The people that bankroll all these, because if you're doing the money laundering for the people that are bankrolling Congress, you got them guys and Congress on your side. You know what I mean? Like under your thumb, because you're controlling that money. You know what I mean? Like he was rolling with with what they call the donor class, and that's how he got so massive and had such a big realm of influence, because he was the dude. He was laundering the money for the people that bankroll every insidious fucking thing that you can think of. You know what I mean? Like, but
I just want to know about alien shit. That's what I've been on board for. I want aliens, demons. I see past the veil. I don't want them to see me. That's where it comes down to. I don't want them to see that I'm seeing.
Yeah.
So, but
Well, no, that's the problem, man.
that's the price.
You've heard the old adage, like, be careful of what you look into, because when you look into it, it looks back at you. And I've heard that from a few researchers that have been on this show. So let me ask you this. Let's get off all like the real, upsetting, like, material world conspiracy stuff that is, stuff that's happening to us on a daily basis. Let's talk about alien ship for a little bit before we get into punk and hardcore, because we got to talk about music stuff, and you brought it up, and I know you got a lot going on. But what is do you have a thought? I like to ask people that are into this question. Do you think when people are experiencing aliens or talking about aliens, or people are researchers or experiencers or abductees, whatever, do you think this is something that's extraterrestrial, like life from other planets, or do you think it's something more interdimensional, like they're just from another dimension, or do you think that it's something like hidden Earth, like an older advanced civilization that's hidden from us, like whether it's underwater or or in the Arctic somewhere? Or do you think it's in the realm? One more. Or do you think it's in the realm of the demonic? Where, because I've had people come on saying like, all this stuff is, you think it's aliens, but it's really part of the whole seed war going back to the Nephilim and things like that. And this is all demons posing as this. And then, you get into some things where you look at Aleister Crowley when he was talking to whatever that demon was and named Lamb, and it looks like a gray alien. So it gets into all that. And then I had one guy on, and his whole thing was like, this is all one entity, and it poses as, it camouflages itself and presents itself as whatever it thinks you'll relate to. So it can present as an alien, or it can present as a demon, or it can present as, whatever, a cartoon character even, if you for a kid or something. But it is a parasitic entity that like has to like live off our energy. Nathaniel Gillis, he's a real deep researcher, a good guy too. But he has a real interesting take on all that. And so, given all that realm, and maybe there's something else I don't know about, but like, what's your take on this? Like, what do you, what's your gut feeling, or what do you hope it is?
It's, I mean, I think every avenue is plausible.
Yeah.
That's the problem, is that there's outside of it, the location of certain places like Antarctica, sea stuff, like we haven't discovered, like the majority of the planet, we haven't seen, and it's just, but we're also kept from seeing a lot of it. It's I keep getting ads because I was doing some of my own research on Antarctica, and now I'm getting ads for like a 6-day cruise that'll go there, and I'm like, fuck. And I'm like,
I got the same thing, man. I got the same thing. Well, if I'm in a position where I can do that, well, let's do it, dude. Let's do it. Let's go see the ice wall.
I am 100% on board. That's the thing, it's like as much as, I mean, all of its pictures, it's like how, if you have it's great to see if you view it like it's a movie, like it's not real, but when you put the plausibility in your brain and you're like pictures of the planet, where are all the satellites? Are they just scrubbed? How do they know those are the colors? How do they know this? Yeah. How do they know that? It's like there's certain things of, like all these videos, old pictures and things that's like, I think they just put, I mean, a lot of it was Cold War stuff. I get it. It's like, hey, we're going to lie. We're going to, get all this stuff out just to make it look like we've done it. That's one thing. But I think that there are things that we are not supposed to see, especially deep sea stuff, definitely Antarctica. I've had, it's just any type of demonic things. I mean, there's definitely, uh, I definitely believe in a higher power,
Yeah.
and whether it's good, bad, no matter what, I can't be the judge of that because it's from my view, it's, it's me looking up, and any higher power is going to be them looking down. That's just how I'm never going to have the full scope of the visual of what it is. So, I mean, I think it's, us from the future. I
Yeah.
definitely, I definitely think it could be, it's ignorant to think that we're the only planet that has any form of life outside of just, single cell organisms or anything. I've had my own experiences. One when I was a kid, and another one on my like I've seen UFOs. I've gotten pictures of stuff. I've had experiences where it's like, oh shit, what's this? And just that I couldn't explain. I believe it all.
Yeah.
I believe it all. There's definitely uh things out there that surround us that every once in a while, if the veil is thinned, and I mean that's a lot of people don't dive into that because they either don't want to, because their life is dictated by a different path, different authorities. It's like, hey, you know what? I'm working class. I don't have the time or the energy to worry about things I can't control or think about, like mentally have reservation for those things. And I get that, but then you get jerks like me that don't sleep
Yeah.
and just, and deep dive and have all these, crazy thoughts. And it's like, they're coming up with all these things now. And there's a lot of plausible actions to where aliens, I mean, sky people, almost every, indigenous, tribe, or, they've all they've all seen something, and they all have called them, around that type of, every type of Indian, Inuit, Aztec, it doesn't matter, Mayan, everybody, even though, I don't think they built that stuff. I think they just incorporated. I think it could have been, I think that we are there's constantly resets, and something catastrophic happens, and there's a reset, and then there's another reset, and we just find a lot of these things, and we make them our own. And it's like with, just with, what is it? I keep getting all these weird on my algorithm. There's UFOs that are built around, because like crashed vessels that are so big, stuff had to be built around it. And it's like, who knows what technology, reverse engineering, this, that, it's, of course there's stuff, to the jumps in technology they can't just dictate, the spark of intelligence. It has to be something that is found and reversed, or something that was given. And a lot of that, and anything that's given has no value. And that's a lot of it too, is that, we haven't earned it, a lot of the technology either. We haven't learned to respect it. So with going back to like aliens, and just, I think all of the above.
Yeah.
I think all of the above. I mean, it's not like a district, like to where it's like, you get like, what was that movie? Like, like you get a big, like V, something. I mean, I'm dating myself here, but that was like one of my favorites. Like as a kid, just, like, oh, aliens are looking for help, and they need to, like need somewhere to live, and like people are against it, people are for it. You could take that situation out of it being an off-planet alien and put it with an alien, people from another country. And we do that now. We are not kind to each other, to where, why would anybody want to come here?
Yeah.
If not to, for our resources, and so I definitely think, wood. Where else in the universe do we know that has wood?
Gold.
Only us. You know, you can get, gold is another one that's, wood, gold, it's crazy. It's
Yeah.
crazy to think of all the, any type of fossil fuel or, things that we have here that we take for granted. It's definitely coming from the ocean. There's things that we're not supposed to see. There's things we're not supposed to, like really be privy to, and people want to explore, people want to, I want to go there, I want to go there. I want to see the world, and that's another thing that music, which I'm really glad that I feel very fortunate and blessed that I was able to do as much traveling, to see places that I had no idea even existed. And, and a lot of, all my ventures and, it's like, I get lost all the time. I've showed up to shows late because, just kind of like, I need to see what this is. I need to see what this is. It's like, I need to, bone churches and all kinds of crazy stuff and everything. And a lot of these things were built, but for what purpose? It's and it's hard to not think about it not coming from some form of technologically advanced entity.
Yeah.
So, but I think it's either definitely future us, to where it's, putting all the plastics in our body is definitely, we're going to have some Children of Men style stuff happen, coming. Just population rates are down anyway. We're pretty much the average American is eating a credit card worth of plastic a week. So you figure, and there's, microplastics in rainwater that goes into our aquifers, that goes into anything that goes into food, that goes into crops.
Yeah. It's hard to escape it all, man.
It's wild.
Yeah.
And it all ties into something else too. It's hard to stay on task.
Yeah. No, it's wild, man. This is open, free form, long form conversation, man. And when I say this is me and you in the van driving, to the next gig, and this is the dumb shit we'd be talking about in between,
This is exactly like it's funny because it's when we're in the van, like I almost wait now. I sit there and I watch, and like they're, like Mike will be looking at me like, oh, what am I going to say now? What kind of crazy thing am I going to bring up?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I love it. It's yes, a lot of it is based on fiction, but to think that it's not is even more exciting and entertaining.
Yeah.
But it's equally as terrifying when it's not fiction anymore.
Yeah.
So,
but I think
is a lot of our society now.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I agree. Like, it doesn't, like I always, when I talk to a lot of these people that are like, well, no, it's definitely not aliens, it's demons or this and that. I'm like, why can't it be both? Because like, it doesn't, I'm not saying a specific case has to be both, but like, there can be demons and aliens and interdimensional beings and all this stuff all can coexist. It doesn't have to be one or the other. And guess what? Nobody fucking knows, dude. Nobody knows. Like, right? You won't know until you're dead.
Yeah.
And maybe you don't even know then. Like, maybe it's all a joke and you just go into the deep sleep forever and nothing else happens. You don't know. That's the beauty of everything. So it's like, if you don't know, you should try and get out of your normal routines and live like, like you don't know. So like, it might be awesome when you die. It might just be the forever dirt nap. So
that's it.
And I know people.
Energy.
It's all energy.
We're energy people. Energy cannot be destroyed.
It can't be destroyed.
It just,
but you don't know what happens.
It just transcends into something else.
Yeah.
It just it becomes a whatever the life force is. It's like
but you return to something.
No, I agree.
But I've been looking into that stuff more, like energy and frequency. Like frequency is huge. You know what I mean? And so
that's a big one.
Yeah,
that's a big one that I deep dive in, just specifically like different bilateral tones, different frequencies are good for different things and just for health, for wellness, for, it's wild. Why Why did they remove bells from churches? Because they're, that's a whole other,
Yeah, it's wild.
like the actual old bell. That's another one. That's
Yeah, yeah. Or if they didn't remove them, they cracked them. They cracked them. You know what I mean? If they didn't remove
they cracked them. Yeah.
Because guess what? It's taking the frequency away. But yeah, man, and all that stuff is wild. And the world, when you stop getting stuck into the day-to-day mire and the day-to-day shit they're just ramming down your throat, like, there's still a lot of cool shit out there. And that's the thing. Like, this is my little crunchy moment. As depraved and shitty as people can be, there's also the opposite of that, where people are fucking awesome.
Oh, definitely. Yep.
And there's a lot of cool shit. There's a lot of beauty in the world, and you got to appreciate it. And I think sometimes you need the shittiness to put it against, to really, you know what I mean? To really appreciate the good shit. You know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? Like you need to reflect it off the bad.
There's a lot of places that, like, everybody has their spot that they like to go to, their downtime, because it's fulfilling and relaxing and enriching, like their own souls, like just the environmental change, going somewhere else. And I see, I go to Puerto Rico as often as I can, it's like, to where it's like, it's a must be nice moment for a lot of people. And I'm like, work your ass off, save your money. You can do it. It's not expensive. It's part of America. I'm tired of people telling me, do I need my passport and all this stuff? But there are places there that fully give me hope in humanity all the time.
Yeah.
And I'm a simple person. I'll just sit for hours, smoke cigar, and just watch how all the older people interact, and how just their communities and their culture, how they, how just, it's not like the well hasn't been fully poisoned yet, and it's like, and there's so many there's genuine people everywhere. It's difficult to find in, most, like metropolis areas, because people are sullied, like they're it's like, oh, I have to get them before they get me.
Well, yeah, they're in a scarcity mindset because they're in a fear cycle and a scarcity mindset, because they just think like, they're trying to get over on me. I got to get before I got, you know what I mean? And that's the grind,
and giving, it's being, having charity, being benevolent, and just, doing something good. It could change the course of somebody's life completely. You never know.
Yeah.
You never know. Like, that whole adage where it's like, you be kind. You never know what battles,
someone's going
the person's
through,
having or whatever. Yeah. And that's true. That is a real thing. It's like you have to tackle every day with a smile, and with, hey, you know what? I'm blessed for just waking up, having a roof, being able to walk, there's so many things that we take for granted. And I do, I definitely believe that there's a lot of good in this world, that to where it's not on the edge of destruction, to where evil can fully win yet.
Yeah.
So, and I do, good and evil. I know that's a slippery slope on those terms.
Well, it's also just energy and frequency, right? Like negative, low frequency, or high frequency, like low vibe or high vibe.
Yes.
Like you can look at it, whatever, frame it however you want. There is a duality out here, and one of them is more beneficial than the other. And
correct. Oh yeah.
Yeah. So, but yeah, man. Well, that was
That was Van Talk. That was definitely
Van Talk. Yeah. And that was a, a lot of this tied into, like, so I'm going to let the cat out of the bag here. Me and my friend Mark, who is the singer, he's in a band called Let Us Pray, but he was the singer of Metal Church as well. And then that just went awry. And he talked about it on the podcast, and it go wild. No, did I say the wrong band? I'm hungover, but anyway, but Mark and I, we're gonna do a new podcast, like a side podcast, kind of how I have like the M4s with me and Packer and Joe Hawk and Mark Unseen, and we just get drunk and talk shit. I'm gonna
Fucking love those. Yeah.
I don't have a name for it yet, but it's gonna be basically a music meets conspiracy podcast. So I'll have you on it, right? It's going to be me and Mark host it, and then we're going to have like other guests like that, and we'll have a theme.
You let me know.
Yeah, Wino.
I will come out to Freetown and I will definitely 100%.
Yeah. Well, next time you're around, you should come out here anyway. We'll go to Bridgewater Triangle. I'll bring you to some of the weird spots.
Oh fuck yes.
But we might do it remote too because Mark's all over the place. But we're gonna do. It's just going to be like, I don't know how to explain it, but we'll have different people on because there's a lot of people that I think. So the music we're all involved with, whether it's punk or hardcore or metal, or whatever, like no one got here because we were like well-adjusted members of regular ass society, right? So we already think a little different. And then, also given the chance to travel a lot, like that broadens your perspectives and opens you up to a lot of things. And just so whatever. So like, I think we all have a kind of unique perspective on things. And there's a lot of people that are of the same mindset or have the same interests. So, I know Wino is going to come on. I talked to Jesse from Killswitch Engage. Like he's going to come on because I think it'll be interesting. But I also think a lot of these guys are in bands that have like such a reach and a fan base, like you and like everybody, that it could help open other fans' minds because people are going to listen because like, oh, I love Killswitch or I love fucking The Obsessed or I love Metal Church or I love Full Blown Chaos or Brick by Brick, I think we have a way to reach people in a way that isn't preachy or commandeering or like where it's just like, hey, this is, what we're just thinking about, or we have a lot of perspectives. And I think that resonates with a lot of people, or it at least gets people open in a way like they're not being dictated to, or, or it's not propaganda, So I think it'll be a cool thing, man. And it could, like you said, you don't know the little bit of benevolence, like, we don't know, like, what kind of ripple this has, right? Like, and I'm not saying this is a big benevolent thing,
definitely.
but having these talks, and I think with people that have a little bit of a reach, like in our worlds, could help some people, shake the dust off the, shake some of the programming off, you know what I mean? And kind of see what's going on.
100%.
So that's coming up, and I'll let you know. It'll be a round table type thing. I'm gonna have to like stay sober for these, like, you know what I mean? Because I want to get down. You know what I mean? Like the other ones, the M4s round tables are just fun. You know what I mean? So, but yeah, that the M4s are credibility records for us. We just like those fucking jerk offs. Yeah, but I love it. You know what I mean? And everyone loves those, so it's fun. You can't be serious, and you got to still have fun in life, right? And so like we'll mix it up. But yeah, I'll let you know when we're doing those. 100%.
Awesome.
But yeah, so let's talk music, man. Like you're a veteran of like the hardcore metal scenes and stuff. Like tell people, people who don't, people who are fans but don't know you, like, how did you even find your way into all this, and like what got you into this, these subcultures, and how did that emerge?
I've always loved music, was always surrounded by music. My mom used to take me, so I grew up in Brighton Beach, Coney Island area. And my mom's cousin, my second cousin, is he just recently passed, Neil Sedaka. So he was in the Tolkiens. He did all these like, Calendar Girl, Happy Birthday, Sweet 16, all these songs, Laughter in the Rain, all this stuff.
Yeah,
and when he would
big.
play, yeah. And when he would play the Luna Park Band Shell. So, and they normally do like free shows there. I don't even know if it's still there because that whole area has been super gentrified. But we'd go and watch, and I always loved seeing him perform. Like they'd always have shows there, and it was always free stuff. So we'd go walk down the boardwalk and just, be by the ocean. You're watching a show and everything else. And, it was always a great vibe. And I always wanted to do it. I had a music teacher who I was like, I want to do something. I want to sing, want to do something in music. And this teacher, she told my mom that I couldn't hold a note if it had a handle. And ever since then, I was like, fuck you. I'm gonna change it up. But just kept doing music through the years in school. Tried to. I did orchestra for almost 10 years. Literally violin, viola, cello, and did a lot of singing, a lot of chorus. After that, it was just, hey, I want bands. I want to do bands. I want to do music. And cutting out of school, which is, I don't know anybody that was so goody that couldn't do it. I used to cut out of school. I went to Lincoln. So in Coney Island, we'd hop on the train, go out to the city, and just walk around. We knew there really wasn't a big truancy police thing at that time.
Yeah.
Even though it was for a while, but I'm 50 now, so it's like, things are definitely schools. Totally different.
It's a different world now, a different game. Yeah, school.
Oh yeah. So, but and I remember walking past this one place and the sounds coming out of there. I was like, what the fuck is this? And it was CBGB's, and there were people sound checking in there. And I remember walking in, and I was like, whoa! I was like, this is what I want to do.
Yeah.
And it was just that moment, and then I started, trying to find shows, stuff that would let me in, even though that they wouldn't ask me for an ID or anything. Like I wasn't quite 18 yet. I always had facial hair, so I definitely was able to get into certain places like Bond Street Cafe, Wetlands. Would let me in. That's a whole other, dynamic, because I had a couple of tattoo artist friends that played in a bunch of punk bands that they all knew Roger. Roger was doing Disasters at the time. He was doing Lady Luck at the time. And, and his wife at the time was bartending, at Wetlands. So no matter what, we always got in.
Yeah.
So even being young, younger, and we'd get hosed, we drank and just party. But I'd look for the venues where I knew I wasn't going to get ID'd. L'Amour didn't ID usually.
Yeah, I mean,
so
New
I
York
got to
though,
see a lot of.
it was a different in Boston too back then. It was like there was way more. It was way freer, for better or for worse, right? Like there's good and bad parts to it, right? Because it's like anything with freedom it's a double-edged sword, right? Because it comes with a certain amount of accountability and responsibility, but like. Yeah, it was like you didn't things weren't so uptight. It was wild. Things were just more wild.
It was awesome as long as you had that stamp or that wristband. It didn't matter.
Yeah,
it was like just go in, do whatever. Like the Ritz, Roseland, Crazy Country Club. All these spots were just awesome.
Yeah.
They all had their own regulars, their own energy. I think the first show I saw at CB's was Helmet, and just the Limelight. I saw White Zombie there, before they were White Zombie, forever ago, and just Tramps, used to do all kinds of crazy shows. There was Fort Hamilton in Brooklyn, Fort Hamilton High School used to do shows all the time, Battle of the Bands, and like Candiria, Indecision, Purge, Backslap, all these great bands that shut down. They used to play all the time. There's a bunch of spots out in Staten Island. You were a bus or a train away.
Yeah.
And at the time, that's the whole latchkey, kind of kid thing. It's like, hey, I'm gonna hop on a train and just go.
Yeah.
What's the worst that's gonna happen? I was a husky kid. I'm a husky adult. So it's like, hey, they're gonna have to worry about feeding me. I don't got to worry about getting kidnapped.
Yeah.
So it was, and so it was one of those things. It was like, all right, but I started by doing that, and then just wanting to be in bands and wanting to play. And first show I ever played was at CBGB's, you know, with a super old band. It was terrible, you know, and that was it. And just, you know,
Name
kind
it,
of
dude. You gotta name
started
it.
meeting people.
You gotta name it. You can't.
Well, it was Force Fed
Okay.
was the name of the band. So it was, but that was one of, God, there was so many bands,
Yeah.
so many just things. And the thing is with that band is that, you know, I did a lot with that band too, even though like we didn't have a label or anything like that. You know, I got to travel. I got to do, you know, which is crazy. Like Jack Koshak, he does Milwaukee Metal Fest. He used to do back in the day. You know, I played there with Force Fed in the 90s.
Yeah.
You know, I went down to Texas. They had November to Dismember in 99, played down there with that band. And, you know, that's where I met, you know, and I was coming up to Albany for shows, but that's where I met all the dudes in Skinless. You know, I met everybody, like the guys that were playing it in Flames then, you know, Anal Cunts and fucking, we all shared the same hotel.
Yeah.
And it was fucking wild. Like it was bizarre. And I'm, you know, a lot of those people I'm still friends with almost 30 years later. So it's crazy, but that's through music, you know, it's like the, you know, it just binds everything together.
Yep.
But it's one of those, you know, just going on and going to all these places. And I'm like, well, this is what I want to do. And then just doing other bands, you know, I had Frankie. So my old drummer, Frank Godla, he does Metal Injection is his, you know, so they're huge, you know, like as far as for, you know, like pretty much being a platform for music and for heavy music and everything nowadays. And, you know, he's still a great musician, you know, he was great from the go, you know, and just, you know, then jumping into other projects and doing things and, you know, and then so I had another band that was based out of it was Brooklyn and Queens. It was like we all used to rehearse in this one space in Rockaway, and Sworn Enemy used to rehearse there. Sworn Enemy, EGH used to work. You know, all these band. My band was 36 Deadly Fists, so we had two singers and Full Blown shared studio. So one day the band didn't want to keep moving. Full Blown wanted to, but their singer didn't want to do stuff. And I was like, hey, let's
trade,
see what we can do. And we switched.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And we switched. And it's like, you know, I'm not the original singer for Full Blown, but it's like we all had the same values. We all liked the same, you know, I wasn't a punk rock kid, but I loved metal.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, you know, when I was a kid, it was all, you know, I loved freestyle, you know, just because of, you know, in the area, that was the thing, old school hip hop, freestyle, and Judas Priest. And that was the, you know, and like, I loved Priest. I was like, fuck yes. And it was, you know, and it was all over, you know, it was all over the radio too. You know, like you know, play and record, you know, and just get the cassette tapes, 90-minute Maxells, you know. You show somebody a cassette tape these days, they're like, oh, these are those new things that people are coming out with now. And I'm like, no, those are so retro, it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
You know, it's, but, you know, it was definitely, I mean, that was pretty much like the origin story of like, you know, I always wanted to do music. And when they said that I couldn't, and, you know, I'm like, oh, you know, he can't sing and this and that. There's people who still think I can't sing. You know, it's like I do
it's
music
brought you
for me
around
first.
It's brought you around the world, man. It's brought you around the world.
100%.
I like, it's funny because, you know, I have a lot of people on that I'm friends with that I know, but it's like I like to ask questions like that. Like I learned stuff about my friends, you know, when I have this podcast, which is one of the best fringe benefits of it. But I love that everybody's had that moment. Like you stumbled into CBGB's just walking around the city. But as soon as you heard that, you were like, because I said the same thing. What is this? This is it. This is for me. Like I heard Suicidal on the college radio station, the local college radio station, and Black Flag and stuff. And I'm like, what is this? But it resonates and hits, and it's a defining moment in your life. There was like life before I heard this. And
oh yeah,
I just went on a whole new trajectory of life. Like I just just switched and like
My
now
fault.
I'm on this post.
Yep, that's
I am on this path now. Like for people that it's like really, you know, like we're still here, like how many decades later, like, and there's a lot of people. I went to a Bane show last night and I saw people I haven't seen in 30 years. Like, you know what I mean? Like, and it's like wild. And it's like still like, that's what I love about this type of music is that it's more, it's corny to say, but it's more than music because we were drawn to it for whatever reason, you know what I mean? But like it like is like an all consuming thing. Like even when we like try and reject it or whatever, it's like it's still there. You know what I mean? And
Oh yeah.
and I love it, man, because and that's what it's like a tie that binds. You know what I mean? And it's just like, and you know, it altered the course of all our lives. But I think you know sometimes it's a hard road, but I think for the better, man. Because I see people that are my age, like. We're Peter Pan motherfuckers, dude. Like, you know what I mean? I see, like, you're 50. I just turned 54, dude. And I see people that I'm like, what? Like, you know, or I look at it like this way, like Carol, what's his name? Carol, whatever his last name is, the dude that played Archie Bunker.
Carol O'Connor.
Yeah. That dude was younger than us. And
Yeah.
you look like an old grandpa, dude. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
Yep.
you know, just whatever, you know what I mean? So I think this music in life keeps us younger, you know what I mean? And you know, more vibrant about things. But no, but I long story to tell, it's like everyone has that moment where it's just like it hits and you're like, what the fuck is this? But I know this is for me.
Yeah.
And it's just, and then it is. And then that's how it goes. And I love that because it's like very, I don't know. I feel like that happens very rarely in life and like doesn't happen to everyone. So it's like one of those things you have to like hold, like cherish, you know what I mean? Cause it's fucking cool.
I feel there's stuff to where I feel incredibly fortunate that I came across that path.
Yeah.
Because I mean, anybody could do anything, but not everybody goes the route of musician. And I mean, it gets, you know, it gets shit on a lot because like, you know, I mean, social media's ruined everything, but it's like, they're like, oh, you know, oh, what do you do? You know, this and that. Oh, I'm, you know, like I'm a doctor. Oh, I'm a lawyer. Oh, I'm a DJ, you know, and they make fun of it. But you look at like Steve Aoki, you look at all these, you know, like Rob G, you look at all these, you know, all these people, they're playing for millions of people. And it's like, hey, you know what? It's the same. It's the aspect, you know, they've made it, you know, did they start that way? No, you know, I still play shows to 3 people, you know, it's like, I've done the big, I've done the little, and I love both dynamics.
Yeah.
It's you know, and a lot of people get jaded. And there's a lot of musicians.
I mean, it could be show to show, dude. Like you could play one show one night for 30 people, and the next night you're playing the same band. Just the next night, now you're in front of 900, and then 2 days later you're in front of 3,000, and then you're back in front of 24. Like it's wild. Yeah,
that's the thing. It's finding that humble zone.
Yep.
You know, with music, because it's you never know. You know, you never know, and you never know who your music is touching, who it's helping. I'll tell you what, like stuff that I've written in the past has been the best therapy for me. Like as of recent, just going back to older albums and listening to stuff I wrote, it's like I hit messages in there that help me now.
Yeah.
It's wild. It's wild and I wonder if other musicians have that kind of, you know, have that weird, you know, like, you know, weird cyclical serendipity, you know, to you know, older projects and older things that they've created. You know, I know, you know, and there's a lot of musicians that do these huge things that are super Jesse Killswitch, you know, he is one of my favorite people on the planet. Definitely, you know, he's there for the hang, you know, it's like, if he wasn't playing the show, he's still at the show. It's like, he's still there hanging out, you know, which is cool, you know, doesn't turn people away, you know, and that's what, you know, that's what a lot of people should be doing more of, in my opinion.
Yeah.
You know, definitely one of those type of people, but it's, you know, and he's another one of those guys that, you know, there was a bing, you know, like a light switch. 'Cause you go on, once you hit that that change, it's like you start deep diving. It's like, what's this? Agnostic Front? What's this? Bad Brains?
Yeah.
What's this? Sick of It All? I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, what's this? Judge? Oh, what's this? What's this? Warzone? That, you know, and
and you're reading the back of records, and you're reading the thanks list to find other bands because there was no internet and stuff back then. So you're like, all right, who else?
Yep.
Oh, what shirt is he wearing? All right, I got to look for that band. You know what I mean? That was I think, us growing up in pre-internet, pre-social media times, made things harder. It definitely made things more of an adventure, just like trying to get to a show like in another state or another city. It's like there was no GPS on your hand, like your phone, you had to write shit down or whatever. But I feel like we lived through like the best of times because we have an appreciation. You said something earlier, anything given isn't appreciated as much as something that was earned, right? And like we had to earn it. Like you had to like be in it. Like to know what the fuck was going on. Like you couldn't just observe from home because there wasn't 40 people recording the same show and live streaming it. So you could just stay at home and see every show in the world right now. But you had to find it and seek it out. But I feel like, but now that we have all these conveniences, like we can use them in a way that's responsible because we know what it was like to not have that stuff. Like I like having, both worlds. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I like the conveniences of a lot of this stuff. Like, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, it's wicked awesome to have my GPS so I can, like, oh, my friends are in Albany. Like, where are they? All right, Empire. All right, let me just type in Empire because otherwise I wouldn't know how to get to fucking Empire, like, until I did it a couple times, or whatever.
Yeah.
But
you don't have MapQuest.
Yeah.
MapQuest, and I remember having a binder.
Rand
full
McNally.
of, on tours. Yeah. Just doing that. And I was a certified, every musician 20 years ago, and then some was a certified truck driver with any type of with any map, like any truck stop map. You could find wherever you needed to go.
Yep.
And it was awesome. Just going to shows, not even like touring or going to play.
Oh yeah.
It's like there's, you find a venue you like. All right. I want to see other shows there. I used to go down to Philly all the time. Used to go down to Virginia to see shows. We'd go out to Connecticut, go out to Boston. Just, I used to take the train and hope that I make the last one out just to go to QE2 up here in Albany, to see, Cranial Abuse and all these different bands, Stigmata and everything. So you never know, you never know what you're going to find, and it gave you those opportunities. And then everybody videotaped back then too, which was awesome. I know there's a lot of old full-blown footage that's just in that Sony night vision green. From it's wild stuff. We used to play, there was a club in Brooklyn called what was it? It was oh my God, I'm blanking out on it. Well, either way, it was the Temple. So it was it was the basement of a synagogue. It was called a Temple. And the most violent shows would happen there. And it was just violent, bloody, crazy shows. And it's like, well, sacrificial, I guess, for the music. And it's just, you never know. It's wild places. And that, and a lot of these bigger venues now, they are a little, they're safe spaces, but that was half of the love for a lot of the older places. A lot of the smaller ones, you didn't know what was going to happen.
Yeah.
What did I see? I saw there was at Coney Island High. I went on my birthday. I don't know, sometime in the late 90s, and it was Candiria and Meshuggah, and I think Indecision opened that. Or however it was flip-flopped, and it was insane. I was bloody. I ended up under a bar stool. I'm like, how did I get here? And just, it was wild.
Yeah.
The dudes in Meshuggah, their hair were stuck in the ceiling tiles. They doing circle whips and all kinds of crazy shit. So it's great memories of all kinds of
now those dudes play
stuff.
stadiums, but it's funny to see Indecision in Meshuggah like Okay, like that's the
Yeah.
other thing I used to like about shows back then. They were like mixed bags. Like, it was just like, it was always like,
That's how you could do it, and that's how you learn other. A lot of these the mixed bills.
yeah,
I love the mixed bills. It's like, hey, bring it. I can find something that I don't know,
Yeah.
or something that I might like, or there was I think one of the best mixed bills I got to see was at a wrestling center,
yeah,
and it was Candiria and Merciful Fate. So, and it was
Yeah.
like it was awesome.
Yeah.
It was so awesome. It just you never know. You never know what you're gonna find.
yeah.
But yeah.
So let me ask you this: you got Full Blown Chaos and you got Brick by Brick. They're both active. Like, what's it like juggling two bands?
It's not as difficult as it used to be. Like Full Blown we never did the whole like, oh, we're gonna call it quits. So to bank on the whole,
Yeah.
Oh, we're doing a reunion.
Yeah.
Like people just sit there and they're like, oh, there's still a band, they're still around, and we still play a couple of times a year when we can.
Yeah.
We still go to Europe whenever we have the opportunity. We don't have the the draw, the pull, but there was a whole era of like beatdown bands that like a lot of people focus on. They focus on the on like Shattered Realm, or they focus on some other bands like just that had this style, but there's all these other bands that like Full Blown that kind of curated a more aggressive, like it was on point, like that Red Line from Jersey, that whole New Jersey bloodline, like it was all different. Missouri from Virginia, they were tough as nails. It was just a lot of good music, and like people kind of pigeonhole and then focus on one. It's like, man, there's other music out there. People don't do their homework.
Yeah.
That's the thing. It's like, they don't look for, hey, what other bands with the same genres that could do this or do that. But juggling both, it's so. Truth be told, when Brick by Brick, when Mike approached me, Mike and I were already thick as thieves then. It's like I would try to start my shows if I couldn't. So there was this one venue, I have to preface here, one venue in Wheeling, West Virginia, called Yesterdays, and that place was my Vegas. So it was literally, the Wild West there. I like to start shows there and end shows there, like on a tour, just because I knew we were getting paid. I knew we were getting drunk. I knew we were getting taken care of. And my buddy who owned the place had a dozen other bars. He had strip clubs. He had stake in Wheeling Island Casino, so it was always an adventure.
Yeah. Yeah.
But then, but I knew also coming up here with Mike, I knew we were always going to have a good time. So I would either start in Albany and finish in Wheeling, or, I would try to do it either way, just say, hey, we get to hang out. Boom. We hang out. We do this, do that. We end up at the strip club, bombed, it's always an adventure. And that's, I always wanted I wanted to be lucrative, and I wanted to be a good time for the band, and for kids to enjoy themselves. Now, juggling both, when Brick by Brick had let their other singer go, I had told Mike years previous, I'm like, hey, if you ever need somebody to fill in, I was like, I got you, just let me know. And he hit me up and he's like, hey, you want to fill in for this Canadian Madball tour? It's a few days, this and that, da, da, da. I was like, sure, why not? And did one rehearsal, kind of barked my way through it, didn't know any of the songs still.
Yeah.
And it was just like, whatever. Showed up, we did the shows, and it was just, I don't know how I got through them. I definitely was an asshole the entire fucking time. We're in Canada. We're like, yeah, let's, whatever, let's have fun. And then on the way back, he's like, so when are you joining? And I was like, what? And he goes, these were the best shows. I was like, fuck. And I was like, well, you know what? Full Blown was on a not a we were on a hiatus,
Yeah.
and I was like, I got to keep my chops going.
Yeah.
I was like, I got to keep it.
Well, that's what
gotta
people
keep
don't
my vocals
understand,
up.
right? Like as vocalists, we can't. It's like, what are you gonna do? You can't go like just. I guess you could, but I don't like just go yell in a room like this. It's not like you can't just practice like on a guitar or a bass or drums, where you can sit home and do it. You got to be in a band really to do it, or otherwise you're driving around listening to your stereo in your car and just screaming
And screaming in the car,
screaming in the car, right?
screaming in the shower.
Yeah.
It's a different, it's a different environment
Yeah.
completely. So just, and the thing is with Brick by Brick and Full Blown, it might sound similar, but different set of muscles,
Yeah.
different vocal styles, even though when I first joined Brick by Brick, it was always, it was like, oh, that sounds like Ray from Full Blown and Brick by Brick. And now it's kind of encapsulated
That its sound, yeah.
the band's sound.
Yeah.
It doesn't help that, Jeff, my drummer from Full Blown, is in Brick by Brick now also.
Yeah.
So it's like, and we have a weird, sync up also. So it's like, I follow him for everything. When Jameson was playing drums,
just come on, just do Brick by Chaos.
that's, what if there's we've entertained it.
Yeah.
It's like we've done a couple of shows where it's like, hey, let's do double duty.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, I don't want to do double duty.
No, as a vocalist,
but
that's hard, man.
it sucks. It sucks.
Yeah.
But and that's the thing too. It's like, if you're, if you rehearse enough, and like I definitely, like, we had a couple of rehearsals last week. We've got a rehearsal this week coming because we have our it's not a release show. Normally we have a big event with Brick by Brick, but we do something real big once a year. This was like the Friday the 13th party. We're like, let's just do something for fun.
Yeah.
But and I was like, but getting I'll touch on that, but vocally for both, it's the writing is different, the vocal is similar but not the same.
Yeah.
And it's hard to juggle. It's I want to do more with Full Blown. Like I'm dragging my feet. We have a ton of new music I need to record, and we're gonna push out ourselves, just put it on for streaming. It's like people that do music now, you're not making money off it.
No.
It's, you make money off of merchandise, maybe the show, if you're going into it for the money,
Don't.
that's, that's an 80s mentality.
Yeah.
Where you had your, your agents, you had your, this, that, you had your manager, everybody was on the bus.
Yeah.
People don't realize, it's like, hey, it's a record loan, not a record deal.
Yeah.
It's like you have to pay that money back.
Yeah.
So it's like you do it yourself. At least, you're the ones that take the liability on a lot of it. And it's difficult to juggle both. I got to go through dates where it's like, oh, I know I have this in April, this in June, stuff in July, Europe. And I'm like, shit, I wanted to do Europe with Full Blown because of festival season and whatnot. So I might have to juggle stuff around for availability. And now having Jeff in the band, that makes it a little more trying, just to make sure that he has it available, because he's in 3 bands.
Okay.
So maybe even more. So he's got Concrete Ties.
Well, that's the curse
besides
of a
Brick by
drummer,
Brick
right?
and Full
There's
Blown.
just not a lot of drummers out there. So every drummer's
No.
in multiple bands because
No.
every band needs a drummer, and there's just not a lot of them.
Yep.
That's a big
That's the
responsibility.
thing.
Being a
Oh
drummer.
yeah.
You gotta-
When you're a good musician, it's like, and not only just, it's you get pulled, it's like you get hired. He fills in for Sworn Enemy from time to time, and it takes and drummers have that acuity too, to where it's like they can listen to it, pick it up, hey, put their flair on it. That's how, it's a good, it's good to be a drummer. Like Corey,
Corey's in like
And-
18 bands. Yeah.
yeah, you can put him in anywhere, and he thrives. It's wild, and he is one of my all-time favorite musicians, period.
Yeah.
Just because of that of that continuity that he has.
Yeah.
He's just able to the talent, that he was born with.
It's funny
But
you say
it's-
that too, like how
it's
drummers
difficult.
just pick it up, because like when I was at the first Murphy's Law show that Walter played drums for, and they hadn't even practiced all together yet, and I was like,
Yeah.
he's like, no, I know it, and literally it's one of the best sounding Murphy's Law shows I've seen. You know what I mean? Like, because Walter's just a fucking amazing drummer, right? So it's like,
Oh
and,
yeah.
and he just brought his style to Murphy's Law, and it just worked, and it works. He's still playing drums with him, but
Yeah.
it was just like, man, what, like, that's confidence. Like, you've never even practiced all together, and you're doing a show. Like, your first practice is actually at a live venue with a significant number of people there, right? Like, it's, but it's
Trial
like
by
you said,
fire. Yeah.
they get it. They can do it. They can do it.
It's awesome to be able to jump in
Yeah.
and just like, yeah, I got it.
Yeah.
It's
And then just like the trust of like, yeah, he's got it. It'll be fine. Is it tough like writing for two bands? Cause I know they're different. And I mean, they're in the same genre type of, approach of like just metal, like hardcore, like, heavy stuff. But like, I'm sure you got to draw from different influences and different writing styles. Is it easy? Do you have to like, I can only work on Full Blown right now and get this done, and then I can do Brick by Brick, or vice versa? Or can you go back and forth like with writing and stuff? Like, because I'm sure it's got to be like a different influence pool like that is.
It is difficult. Like I like split up my notebook.
Yeah.
And when I'm writing, I can't listen to anything new. So that's like a big thing. Like I can't listen to things that might influence the way I write.
Okay.
So which is crazy, because it's like if I write every day. I made it it's a thing that I just do from over 20 years now. It's like I write at least a paragraph if it's something that I'm going to use eventually down the line, or that I could cannibalize for something else. I've used some stuff that I wrote for Full Blown in Brick by Brick, and I've used some stuff that I was writing for Brick by Brick, but I was like, I'm going to hold this. I can make this angrier and utilize it properly for the tuning and the writing for Full Blown.
Yeah.
And I've done that with both, to where it's, especially if like there wasn't any music curated already, to where it's like, all right, I'm writing to a song that's already put together, like, to where it's like, if it's just like a skeleton, just like basic ideas, then I can, take something and plug and play, kind of make it fit. But like to where Brick by Brick, it's more, I've always handled it as more, it's like, so for a long time, it was Brick by Brick was the fun band, and then Full Blown was work. So for a long time.
Yeah.
And, Mike used to call them the fun police. And it's like, because like, oh, they're not letting you party and this and that. And I'm like, you know what? They have a good reason to not let me party. I can't, like get bombed before a show, and then I'm laying down on stage, and it's bad news bears.
Yeah.
So it's, but it's I don't get anywhere there, certain functions I do, but it's nowadays it's like I have to carry myself a little differently. I don't recover the same, but I write more to where it's, I want a fun vibe with Brick by Brick, to where when I'm writing for Full Blown, I want to take somebody's fucking head off.
Yeah.
It's like, I want to hear it and like in the background and think to myself, who the fuck is this? And it's like, oh shit, I wrote that. I want to have that, that ability. And a lot of the stuff that we've been writing lately is very aggressive. It's very just kind of something tangible that you can sink your teeth in, that, it'll definitely ruffle a bunch of feathers. The lyrical content is very angry. It took me a while, because I was at a point where it's like, what am I gonna write about? Aches and pains, it's like being a 50-year-old man, like, what do you write about? And then it's, and then if life is life has to be on a certain trajectory stance to where you have content, because when life is awesome, it's like, oh, like how do you write angry? It's
Yeah,
it's you almost can't, unless there's professionals that definitely have the ability, that could just summon it and do it. It's like, for me, it's like I need to be in a complete, like I am drained of all dopamine. It's like I need to be low
yeah,
and angry to like, and I'm angry all the time. It's
Yeah.
it's one of the superpowers. It's like one of those things. But it's I have to, like, I'll stay. I'm here at the bar now, and it's like I'll stay late. Like I'll have customers, I'll have clientele that just
Uh-oh. We lost him. All right, so we're gonna. I'm recording again. This is gonna be the audio only portion at the end because we had some video glitches here. But you were talking about before we lost connection. We were talking about going back and forth and writing for both bands, and you were talking about with like Full Blown, you were gonna get more in a angry headspace, whereas for a while Brick by Brick was like more the fun headspace, and then I can't remember exactly where we were at, but
it's the it was the having a it's creating content
yeah,
for lyrically, it's it has to be different, definitely different mindset
yeah,
between both.
sure,
You definitely, it's, and just finding stuff to be angry about. And I mean, the news is enough.
yeah. There's no shortage.
I-
If you're paying the minutest attention, there's no shortage of content to react to, to be pissed off about
Oh
nowadays.
yeah. Like there's definitely, I get customers here at the bar that just listening to their conversations, and it's like I bite my tongue
Yeah.
all the time, and just and that's not. I really hate doing that. And then every once in a while, I'll jump in and be like, hey, like they'll be like, what do you think? And I'm like, my time to shine.
Yeah,
And then
here we go.
I'll let them have it. And that's usually when they just like, all right, they finish up and leave.
Yeah.
But it's difficult. It's difficult. Like when you're young and you're full of fucking piss and vinegar, it's like, hey, I could be angry about fucking anything, and it was easy.
Yeah.
Now it's more. It becomes more environmental than it is a mindset. It's like it's like, wow, what can I be angry about? Oh, everything.
Yeah.
It's like everything that surrounds.
Like, how can
internal,
I pick just one thing to be
That's
to
it.
focus
like
on?
with Brick by Brick, I wrote a song on the latest album called Crown of Rust, and that is just it's a it's kind of like metaphors and euphemisms, but it's pretty much, there are times where like being in getting older and feeling it, and just it's like when you rest you rust, and that's a it just feeling the age kind of creeping in.
Yeah.
And it's like I'm like, shit, and just finding a creative way to sing about it, not just like my neck, my back, fucking my knees can't carry me, like it's a little it's a little, you have to be more creative.
Sure.
You got to be a little more creative. Yeah. And plus, it's being a vocalist, it's I listen to patterns, and I always go right to the lyrics. It's like I want to see, because I don't, like, for me, I could see where their mind was.
Yeah.
If it's something that like, did they just write this, or did they write it to get a meaning out? Were they feeling something at the time? And more often than not, you could pretty much nail what people are going through off of like what that that whatever the vocalist, like that lyrical content.
Yeah.
And it's like you just never know. Like there's a couple of songs that it's happened with Full Blown, it's happened with Brick by Brick, where I dreamt the song.
Yeah.
And like just in a live situation, singing it, woke up, wrote it down. That's the fucking song.
Yeah.
And fucking, and it's crazy. Like I did it with Apocalypse for Full Blown. I did it with there's Silence is Golden from Full Blown. That's on the album that's pulled, which hopefully I can re-release because it's a fucking banger. With Brick by Brick, Bars Open. I wrote that, and that was a dream.
Yeah.
That was a whole, like dream sequence, and fucking wrote it straight out. And I'm like, this is the song. Loyal to the Grave was another one where I had a dream of the song, wrote it out. And I was like, just wrote it out. And then I went back to it and I was like, oh shit, this fits perfect. And I just kind of let the ether fucking write it for me.
Yeah, they call it a download. You got a download of it.
Yes. Yeah. And it's, and it gets a little different. It's now with the age, it's like there's no, there's no drought in content, but just having the right content for each band is where it's where the focus needs to be a little better.
Now, do you wait till there's music and write to the music, or do you just like write? I know you said you write every day, even if it's just a paragraph, or do you just write a bunch of ideas and then when you have the music, you'll like hammer it out to that, or?
Both, usually both. Like Full Blown's been like they've been writing just like pretty much all the pre-production stuff, and then they send it over to me, and then I'm like, well, we should do this, do that, kind of curate a little bit.
Yeah.
Like I'll do a little pretty much producing.
Sure.
Let's do this, let's do that. And then I'll write to it, or I'll go through songs that, lyrical content that I wrote and see if something catches with a pattern. So, and then with Brick by Brick, it's a lot of times, I have stuff already written, but I'll rewrite stuff. I'll scrap and just rewrite stuff in the studio.
Yeah.
Because we were the last record, we were out in Long Island recording with Joey Z from Life of Agony, and that I scrapped 2 or 3 songs on spot, and I was like, nope, we're gonna do this, and totally rewrote them, and now they're bangers.
Yeah.
And like I didn't like them, started recording them, and I was like, this sucks. And I was like, I need time. I gotta redo it. And a lot of times it's a game time decision, and it changes the whole vibe.
Yeah. And
yeah.
It took me a while to realize it, because when I was young, like I just like, I'll write some lyrics. But lyrics, it sounds dumb to say, but the vocals are also, they tie it all together, and it like can change the whole feel of a song just by having different words, you know what I mean? Or it's sung in a different way.
Oh yeah.
And it's like, you got to use vocals not only to get the words out, but you use it as an instrument, and it took me a while.
100%.
I didn't know
that's what a lot of people don't realize. That a lot of people, I'm glad you said that, because like a lot of people don't realize that, you're not just a singer. You're like you're an instrument. It's like you have to have some form of dynamic aspect in there. Highs, lows. Crescendo. Put it in. Like use your inner volume just to skew it to how it would sound. It's a lot. It's a lot. Once I feel that a lot of bigger, like more reputable bands out there now, that they found that.
Yeah.
Like listening to their older material and then listening to their newer stuff, and it's like, oh, you realize that you're a musician, you're not just a singer.
Yeah.
It's like that your vocals are an instrument, and you have to, like just like any instrument, you have to practice, you have to, pretty much, maintain them. You got to be good to yourself. That's the only way to keep it going.
Oh yeah, absolutely, man. Yeah. Cause I'm not saying it's tough to do any show whatever you're doing, especially if you're like, I think if you're the singer and the drummer, those are the hardest ones to do hungover. It's like guitar, bass, you can get through it. You know what I mean? But like, and I'm not discounting it. Like, you know what I mean? Like, because you know, obviously there's a big difference between being on point and being sloppy with whatever one you're doing. But you know, I feel like, I mean, unless you know, like some of these bands where the guitarists are just jumping and doing splits in the air and blah blah blah. Like, you know, I just feel like vocals and drums take more physically out of you. You know what I mean? So you have to
100%.
You have to respect it a little. You got to respect your body a little bit more on tour, or it's going to be just a lot harder of a life. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, that's a real thing. Like there was in 2006, you know, Full Blown was fortunate enough. Like we were on an insane tour cycle. It's like we did 10 months out of the year.
Yeah,
so
that's
it's
wild,
just over 300 shows. You know, it's like, it was insane. Like doing Ozfest in 2006 was, you know, the learning stamina, you know, and just longevity in vocals is, because on your off day, you're doing 2 shows. You're doing an early show, you're driving 2 hours, you're playing another show, and then you're leaving to get for a 6 a.m. load-in, you know, for the actual Ozfest dates. And then it's like, well, you're on a rotating schedule. So for us, you know, sometimes we went on at 9 a.m. Sometimes we were the last band on the stage, you know, and late afternoon before everybody moved over to main stage.
Yeah.
So it's like, and just to have, and that's like, there weren't any days off. It was like, you have to, you know, give 100%. So you got your money, you know, so you can sell your merch, so you can get to the next spot. And it's learning, you know, being able to, like, there's a lot of one-off shows to where like this weekend coming up, for instance, Brick by Brick has our party at Empire on Friday the 13th, you know, and there's bands like Internal Bleeding, All Out War, probably one of my top 5 favorite bands of all time. You know, Invoke Thy Wrath, there's a bunch of bands playing. And if it was just that show, I wouldn't worry about it as much, but I have a full weekend of shows. So it's like, I have to give 110%. It's almost an hour set. And then I got to prepare for traveling and then doing the next one in Pennsylvania, the next one, you know, the Sunday in Baltimore, and just like, all right, you know, and you got to give 100% each time, and you have to be physically ready to give 100%. And that's, you know, and a lot of times it's like when you do stuff, it's, you know, you get that full diaphragm burn.
Oh yeah.
You know, cause they're breathing, and then, you know, it's like with Full Blown's a full on workout, you know, just because of the breathing patterns are different.
Yeah.
And I write them differently with Brick by Brick, just because it's
because you learned.
I learned how,
And
then the song structure is different.
It's different. Yeah.
So it's like you got to be prepared. It's like, you know, we have stuff, you know, like Weekend Warrior stuff, you know, until we go to Europe, you know, over the summer. But it's just being able to thrive. You know, it's like I spent a lot of years touring, just being a fucking animal that, you know, there's some days I don't remember.
Yeah.
Don't remember. I know I played there. I know I played the venue, but it's like, shit, I really wish I would have not dove in and fully let loose, like, you know, with my drinking and everything else, you know, because there's a lot of memories that I've got a lot, but there's some that are just lost easily. Other people remind me of stuff.
Oh yeah.
Of course.
They love to, yeah.
There's always that. Oh yeah, there's always that. So
what was it like doing Ozfest with Full Blown back then?
It was cool as fuck. Like it was a super opportunity for us, because you know, Josta was helping everybody at that time. He doesn't help anyone but himself these days. But he you know, he ushered that for us. You know, they wanted us to play for a couple of years, and they were like, "Hey, we want this band," and it just we never had the opportunity, or we didn't have a record to push
Yeah.
for it. So we ended up having a record, an album that would line up just right.
Yeah.
And I mean, the lineup was awesome. I mean, I feel it was probably one of the better, alumni for 2006 because it was all friends. It was all people that we knew, that we toured with already. I mean, at the time, it's like we've done. If you put all the days together with Hatebreed, we toured over a full year with them.
Yeah.
With every tour that once you put it together. So between, Hatebreed, Unearth, A Life Once Lost, Walls of Jericho, All That Remains, between the Buried in Me, Bleeding Through, Dragon Force, like we knew all these bands already. Strapping and Lad, we toured with a bunch. We knew a lot of these bands already.
Yeah.
Just from other tours. So it was a full on.
Just a party.
Yeah. It literally was a party. It's like, we would get hammered early in the day. We do all our Jägermeister signings and everything. I definitely got in trouble a bunch with I threw a chair into the FYE tent. So from the Jägermeister tent during Lacuna Coil was sitting in there, and I got in a lot of trouble. So, but it was, but I would overstay my welcome, but there was still a line for me for signing stuff. So they're like, yeah, leave whenever the line goes down when people don't want autographs on the posters. And I was like, all right. And then I'd end up sitting there all fucking day.
Yeah.
And it's like, people just wanted to drink. And, I'm like, all right, I'm in for it. And it was bad. It was bad. I have some bionic liver or something. It just really, but the opportunity to just, you got a 20-minute set. It's all the staffing and the crew were fucking fantastic. It was so pro, and we've done bigger things at that time, but that was, it was unfortunate with Ozzy because that's when he was a puppet at the time, just with being so medicated.
Yeah.
It was like they just pulled him out of frozen like carbonite.
Yeah.
Whenever he played. But Sharon was awesome. Her kids sucked. They were jerks. But
like just entitled or like what? Like what?
Oh yeah, very, very entitled. Very like walking into production and being like, I lost my phone. Everything needs to stop until I find my. Fuck you. It's there's people who pay to be here. It's like, so. But Sharon was awesome. Fucking the whole crew was just really just professional and and they were empathetic. It's like we ended up having an accident early on. So like after the first week of tour, we've totaled our RV in the Mojave Desert. Totaled it. Told our RV was stuck. It was 4th of July weekend, so we couldn't get anything.
Yeah.
Like out there. I'm out there. I'm looking for craters because straight up lizard leather people everywhere in this Motel 6 on California 58. And it's like, and I'm watching like their kids rob other rooms.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting there fucking like I got at a convenience store next to the hotel out in the middle of the fucking desert. I had a bottle of gin that I was using to clean people's fucking wounds off with, doing dental floss stitches from the accident, drinking fucking Jello shots and fucking, dude, it was what a fucking wild time. Scars of Tomorrow helped us out. They came from California, drove their van out, and fucking literally drove us around for a week until we were able to have somebody drive our van and trailer, like in a new trailer, like out so we could finish the tour. Because, at the time they weren't letting bands do vans because of how much activity it was. It's like you're constantly on the road. So it's like you had to share a bus, but you had to have an RV. We were going to share a bus with Dragon Force, but our off day schedules didn't fit.
Okay.
So we ended up getting it. So we got an RV, and that was probably the best sleep I've ever had in my life. But it's that was party central, that fucking thing. So it was definitely it was an experience having an RV. You know, like for that week, we ended up getting a new one down the line. You know, right after that tour, we were out with Soulfly, and that we had gotten insurance and everything covered, so we ended up getting another RV. But man, like just all the bands on that tour helped us after that accident. Like we all split up into other buses and everything. It's you know, I stole a U-Haul truck that we had our gear in. And we left it on the fucking side of the road once we got our van. So it's like, you know, it was wild. I hitchhiked to one show. And I don't know how the fuck I got there in time, but it was just wild. Like the dudes in Atreyu had 2 buses. So, Atreyu, and we were already friends with them. So they let us crash on one of their buses.
Cool.
Between All That Remains and Walls of Jericho, Red Cord, they all let us hang out on their buses. Unearth let us just, you know, to get out of the heat. Some of those dates were over 100 degrees, middle of the summer. It's like you're just fucking dying. I mean, you get your catering, you get a bunch of cooler with a bunch of bags of ice, but you get, you know, we would get, because we were a Jägermeister band, I had my own endorsement with them also. So we get 2 cases of Jaeger every show.
Yeah.
So that, and then, you know, we get all the beers that we could fucking drink, cases of Monster and everything else. I'm like, I just need water.
Yeah.
Like,
Can we just get a water sponsor, please? Yeah.
Oh yeah. It was crazy, but it was a great, you know, it was definitely, I still have friendships, you know, from that.
Yeah.
You know, from that tour.
Well, that stuff builds friendships, like touring and dealing with adversity on the road and everything will build bonds. I got to ask you something. What was it like hitchhiking? And what was the situation where you ended up having to hitchhike to one of the shows? And what was it like explaining that to people when they pick you up? Like, no, I'm performing at Ozfest. I got to get over there.
I ended up, the way it ended up, it was an off day and everybody got situated. The truck left because we had the U-Haul truck that went ahead, and then the van went ahead. I was going to stay with a buddy.
Yeah.
And then they ended up bailing.
Oh, okay.
So they were supposed to come for a couple of shows, and it was like, holy shit. And then I found, I think it was MySpace. I found somebody that was driving on the way, and it was like, hey, can you help me? And this and that. And like, well, I'm only going this far, and then I'm meeting other people. And I was like, look, I'll hitchhike. I'll go, you know, and made it to like a Flying J, went to this Flying J, and then that was that. I was like, all right. I was like, we're good. And then fucking I've been oil spotted a couple of times where I got left, you know, as long as I wasn't in another country, I wasn't too worried.
Yeah. But yeah, man, that's so. But it was like what time did you? Like what kind of time constraint? Like how far did you have to hitchhike? Like was it because I know some dates can be like, you know, like 12 hours apart, like driving wise, like or something. Like did you no. Like how many miles did you have to hitchhike? That's what I mean.
Thinking it was maybe about, it was getting to Dallas. So I think it was about from Oklahoma to so it was maybe about 4 or 5 hours. It wasn't like a full day drive. It wasn't that bad.
Oh, okay.
So, but it was still rough.
Yeah, because
it still was like,
I'm just trying to think of like who would pick up a dude that looks like us out on the road. You know what I mean? Like I'd be like kind of nervous about anyone that would stop. You know what I mean?
That's why I was like, shit. I'm like, what am I gonna do? You know, it's happened, you know, and sometimes it's like, hey, you want to go to Ozfest? I got tickets.
Yeah.
You know, and like it was a different time, you know, and especially down in the South, like people eat it up. People they hitchhike all the time.
Okay. Yeah.
Oh yeah. I see them. I think the most I've ever seen people hitchhiking was in Texas or in Arizona. So where I've seen probably the most people, and I don't know if it's just, like, are they real? Are they fucking snake people just
Yeah,
trying
yeah.
to fucking, you know,
Yeah, man. Hey,
demonic, just trying to get in, like stay on the road type of
Skin-
stuff,
yeah,
I don't know.
skinwalkers. This hitchhiking skinwalkers.
Oh yeah.
There
Oh,
we
I
go. There's the
firmly-
title of
I-
this episode.
I firmly dive in to Skinwalkers. Oh yeah, 100%. I fucking love it.
Yeah.
I love it. Oh yeah.
I had a guy on who's Native
That's-
American that was given. I don't know if you heard that episode. If not, I'll send it to you. Where he was getting deep into some of the Skinwalker territory, talking about friends of his that they were getting harassed by him and stuff like crazy. Like,
Oh man. It's we played a show in Gallup, New Mexico, and it was full blown and super joint ritual. We played this theater, and fucking I was over at the hotel. It was facing just, we were on the res, so it was just out, like facing desert and mountains and everything. And I remember getting yelled at by somebody at the hotel because I was whistling.
oh yeah.
And at the time I didn't know. I was like, what? And then they were like, no. They're like, They're like, you don't ever do that. And I was like, I only heard you don't whistle in the forest. Like I didn't put two and two together. And I remember getting fucking chewed out.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
it was like, I was like, oh shit. Like they were fucking feral about it.
Yeah,
I
they
was
get
like, oh, man,
serious
I'm
about
sorry.
that stuff, man. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
There's a
No,
lot-
and now, now I believe it. I believe it fully.
Yeah. Well, yeah. So what do you got coming up? I know you got the Friday the 13th show with Brick by Brick it's at Empire, right? In Albany.
That's at Empire. Yep. Empire Live. I got that. We're doing a full weekend with Brick by Brick and Internal Bleeding as well. We got Empire on Friday, Friday the 13th, Empire Live in Albany. And that's going to be a banger. That's going to be a good one. We're in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, and then Baltimore Saturday and Sunday. Then in April, we've got a little Northeast weekend with Brick by Brick and Furia 5. So we'll be out that way. Then we work our way out to Milwaukee for Metal Fest at the beginning of June. And then we're teaming up with Hoods again for Europe because why the fuck not? It's a good time. So we'll be out there this summer. And, that's pretty much what we got booked for Brick by Brick. And for Full Blown, I got to finish this production that we're doing. So finish up my vocals and then just put out some raw stuff. Like, I don't even care, I just want to get some tunes out.
Yeah.
So we could play some new tunes. And, we're going to be booking some shows, doing a couple of weekends. It's just, dialing it in, getting, like kind of wherever Brick by Brick hasn't had something.
So
Yep.
with Full Blown, you're recording new stuff, but then you're also trying to get a record that got shelved back to put that out.
Yes. We have a self-titled full length that we recorded in 2011 on Ironclad Records. And that's Trevor Phipps from Unearth.
Yeah.
That's his record label, but it's, a subsidiary of Metal Blade. So it kind of got shelved, and I'm trying to get it to where at least I could put it out for streaming, or at least make some vinyls. It's like you can find it on YouTube, but YouTube quality for music is just not
there. Yeah.
optimal.
Yeah.
It's not optimal, and it's like the whole album.
Yeah.
You can't really jump
from
around.
track. Yeah.
But it's I definitely want to get it for all streaming purposes, and just to get the music out.
Yeah.
Do that, and then all the new material that they're sending me stuff all the time, like ideas and this and that. I'm like, holy shit! Like, just each one's a better banger than the last, and I'm like, and it's like, all right,
Let's do it. Yeah.
and it holds up. It's you got to keep creating, because once you lose that spark, it's really the snowball effect.
Yeah.
It's hard to get it started again, but once, at least if you're moving forward, you're going in the right direction.
Absolutely, man. And are you working on like another LP or LP length, or are you just whatever collection of song, like an EP? Or
I mean, we have like an LP worth,
yeah,
but we'll probably just, slow drip it, probably do an EP worth,
yeah,
do 4 to 6 songs.
yeah. It seems
And
like
then
that's
just,
what's hitting more now. Is it's like people don't have the attention span for albums as much as they used to, and it's like
Yeah.
put out 2-3 songs and then another 2-3, like you said, let it drip out.
Yep. I think that's what's going to be how we're going to probably attack that.
Yeah,
Is just to have something fresh just to put out. I mean, it's been 15 years since we've had an album out. And, in those 15 years, Brick by Brick has, put out, it'd be nice to have something out at the same time
yeah.
to
make your life even more hectic.
Oh yeah. It's yeah. I already, just from, the, making wine business and, making mead, it's that's a full-time, it's like you have to have passion.
Yep.
And you got to love it, otherwise you don't get a good product. So, it's like anything in life, you got to give it the respect it deserves. And the same thing with music, if you're just, it's not the 80s,
Yeah.
you can't just join a band because I'm going to get girls,
Yeah.
and I want to drink for free. And
Yeah.
that's not how it works. Yeah.
Well, fuck yeah, man. Where can people find you on the social medias and the websites or anything? So if people wanted to find more information. Oh man, lost you again, dude. I will have that information in the show notes, everybody. And thank you for listening through some of the technical difficulties. And yeah. All right, another banger in the books. I want to thank my man Ray for coming on. We had a good time talking to him. Again, just a reminder, if you want to take your health serious, you want to get serious about your health in 2026, check out livelongerformula.com/bigtruth. If you want to get more involved with the show, you want to get on the back channel and get more analysis, get more behind the scenes and everything like that, go to patreon.com/bigtruth. And for more information on the podcast, just go to bigtruthpodcast.com. If you need artwork of any type, go to tattooflashcollective.com. All these people support me, or all these, some of them are me, whatever, you know what I mean? But support these businesses because they're good people and they will hook you up. All right. Till next time, keep it locked.